Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So, the beginnings of making a plow for my SCX10 Deadbolt. So, I've got this plow blade from my spare piston bully that I have for parts, and of course all of its hardware. And did a little bit of research on YouTube and found a guy who used the extra bottom links and bolt them onto the side of the frame here. And from there I got to continue the rest of it and figure it all out. I'm going to try and use these small shocks or a set of shocks for I guess you call it like a pressure spring thing, so that you can't damage the blade and stuff and it'll spring it back, that sort of deal. And of course I'm going to put a servo in here somewhere. Haven't figured that out yet, but for the beginning of it, to get it going, I am going to use different radio gear with its own separate battery supply for the receiver. Just to see how things are going before I crack the lid. I want to make sure everything works properly, and then I'll crack the lid on my receiver and plug it in to there to run the servo, and I'm going to have to change my radio gear all over 3-channel at that point, so yeah, big mess of wires. Ooey. So I may just leave it with separate radio gear. We'll see how it goes. But hey, stay tuned, don't go away. I'm going to do this all one video for you guys, so instant for you and a little bit of figuring out for me. So there you go. Okay guys, so I've got my brackets drilled and mounted for the arms. So next thing I got to do is figure out if I'm going to use these small shocks or something a little bit bigger, and I kind of want to go on sort of like this kind of an angle here is what I'm hoping for anyways. And I just gotta, I've got some pop eyelet screw-in jobbies that I can use in here. I just gotta go dig them out, and I can just snap those into place if I'm gonna use these ones. But it's coming along, so hey, don't go away. Instant for you as always. Hey guys, okay, so I've got my shocks installed. I had to go with Traxxas shocks with progressive rate springs. And I hooked them onto the little frame piece that's got a couple little eyelet mounts for something anyway. Anyway, so they're on there. And sorry about the finger there. And anyway, so they're installed. Got those done. Now what I got to do is figure out my lengths of my brackets to go to the bottom of this sucker, because I can't go straight down. I don't have enough distance, so I got to make some brackets to stick out. So this way, when I'm moving forward with the plow, the shocks will be extended already, so they'll keep it from going this way to a certain point. Like the idea, I guess, is it'll, when you're putting a lot of load under, it'll push out, and these will help push back again. And then we just continue on. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so I'm going to attempt to reuse this bottom bracket, which is part of the support for the piston bully, and the idea here is to hook the shocks actually, into this area here, and hopefully I get the right and proper angle that it keeps the blade straight the way I need it. And should that work, we're in business. We just got to put in the servo and whatever we're going to use to lift the servo up and down with for the blade. And but I got to carve this area out here. Got to get rid of this bulk mess in here. Some of this plate here, get rid of that. And then I got to get rid of these little pin things that are actually not useful to me, so that I can drill the holes where I need them to put the shocks in. So I may actually have to pull the little pivoters out of the shocks in order to fit them into the slots, but that's not a big deal if I have a little bit of play there, and I can compensate for that play anyways. I think I got a bushing I can modify in there for that purpose. Shouldn't be a real big deal there. But so don't go away, we're continuing on here. Okay guys, so it looks like there's a pretty good chance this just may work out fine. I've got the extra piece of the bar taken care of, and I took the little metal things out of the eyelets on the shocks and set them in there. So now I just got to drill the holes and pin it off with some screws and nuts, and then we'll check out and see how things move around and see if we need any other extra support anywhere, which I'm pretty sure we're going to need a little bit extra somewhere. So I might have to put something up in this area up here. But okay, so let's continue on. Okay guys, a little change in design plans. I moved the shocks up top here. The bottom plate wasn't working out for me. I will have about that much lift for clearance, which actually isn't too bad. I could get a little bit more if I reverse the shocks, which I still, well, I don't know. Yeah, that'll create another problem. So I think I'll have to leave it the way it is. So with this much lift, that still gives me a good amount of distance anyways. And I can increase this anyhow by jacking my truck up a little higher. So that's not something I cannot cure. So I could actually gain about another ½ an inch actually by just jacking my truck up a little more. But this is a much better idea in design, because now when I'm pushing forward, the blade isn't going to go anywhere. And if I do run into a problem, spring loaded guys, spring loaded, and it will flex. So that's good. So next thing I got to do is I got to hook up my servo, figure out how much it's going to stick out, and figure out about hooking up my puller system, which I'm still thinking about taking this bar here and putting it down in here in the middle, and then modifying the length enough that I can move that up and down somehow. So stay tuned, we'll have more. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back again for another part of this. So we've got things hooked up. I got my servo mounted on my bumper. The extra parts kit that comes with your SCX10s, they give you extra servo mounts. So I drilled some holes and bolted her down into the front bumper, so that's all good. And I've got this jeweler's wire, pretty strong stuff. And for now a zip tie, which will actually add a little bit of safety pull, I guess. But anyway, so I got everything fired up here, so I was going to show you how this thing works. And this is the radio I'm using. It's a Cougar Ace RC radio. Anyway, it's going to end up living in my Axial after this. But so right now the blade's down, so we just click the third channel. Bazinga! And I've got just a hair under an inch under here, and just a little over an inch at the ends here. And I got no side play here, which is nice. A little bit of twisty, but I think that'll be okay. That won't be a problem. And we hit the switch and puts her back down. So the only other thing I got to do is I got to create a bit more downforce, because right now with this slop, you know, you can see when the blade's down, it's got this play, so I want to take care of that and get a firm grab. So I think I have some springs. They're the type that are already compressed, and you know, as you pull them they add stress. So I'm going to probably end up drilling a hole on either side here, because these axial links have like a fake hole, right? So I'm going to drill down low and then stretch the spring under through the axle and then loop it through the bottom links back in here and do one on each side. And that should give me enough downforce to keep the blade down, because when you lift up the truck, you know, it can drop like that, so that'll create some good downforce there. And I think this is a 6 kilo servo, if I remember right. I could be wrong. It could be a little stronger, it could be a little wussier, but it came out of my wife's HPI Wheelie King, and I kind of upgraded her to something real. And so I'm using that for now, but I don't care. I mean, if this isn't a strong enough servo once I get those springs in, I've got some 15 kilogram digital metal geared servos, and since this is all digital equipment anyways, it'll work out. But right now I'm just running this off of a battery pack BEC thing, and just for testing this out and making sure everything's working good. And so far so good. That's pretty sick, man. We got up and down. Now, you know, when you're down, if you hit something up top, the springs here can compress in, okay, and you're fine that way. Going forward, it's going to create a lot of, you know, push and stiffness where it's not going to give, eh? So there's no way to flip the blade basically, I guess, backwards. But if you need to, if you hit something, it will go this way. And these shocks are slash progressive rates shocks, and I got 50 weight oil in them, so works out good. And I've got them attached right in like that with a bolt straight across. So I think this will work pretty good for a starter plow for this machine. So stay tuned for more. Don't go away. I'm not quite done this video yet, and we'll see what happens once I get those other springs installed. Okay guys, I got some springs in the bottom, not the ones that I wanted, but they'll do the job, and I looped them just over the links. I just looped them there on the back links, so they're not going to hurt anything or anything like that. And of course I drilled my holes here, put them through there on either side. And it looks like I'm going to have to go with a stronger servo. However, I get, I'd say pretty much about a half. What's happening is I added preload to my shocks because these springs, because they're on the links and everything's pulling, right? And this is like that. It's pulling down on the suspension. So I might have to move them, but what I'm going to try first is a stronger servo, and maybe also change that angle to go a little higher first. I might be able to do it with just this servo. Give me a second, I'll be right back. We'll try something. Okay, so I moved the servo horn, and so it comes up more, and looks like that really helped make a huge difference there. So let's try this out. Down, and it's getting pulled that down, so it keeps the blade down. That's good. Back up again. That's good. It's still pulling down at the suspension a bit, but not much. It's only pulling about, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch downward onto my front suspension, which isn't bad. And this still gives it pretty good ground clearance too. I still have my kickback as well from the shocks, so when I'm plowing I've got that spring if I do nail something. I got lots of clearance underneath the truck. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, and nothing interferes with my steering system at all either. But I think that'll work pretty good actually, so not too shabby. So I guess the next thing we do is give her a test run, probably tomorrow. But yeah, that's pretty sick, man. So hey guys, let me know what you think of my homemade plow system. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.